Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Shawn here with Accelerators Organization, ready for another mentor session. So let's just dig in and get right to it. If it's taken me a little while to get your questions, I try to wait until there's about 4 or 5 questions, which there are today, and we are ready to get this thing going. So let's do this. The first question comes from Sam. Sam, thanks for your patience, man. I appreciate you. Sam asks, what do you think is the best method to learning e-commerce? Is it drop shipping, getting a small inventory and doing it yourself, or something else? The background is, as I spoke about it to Shawn, I want to learn e-commerce. Ever since that time, I've thought about drop shipping, which although has its benefits, has a huge language barrier problem, and most manufacturers don't custom design. On the other hand, getting my own inventory requires storage and more work. Is there any advice or suggestions? Thank you. Okay, Sam, you and I talked about this. I have answered this question so many times. I need to probably just record a video and make this part of the training. And I think that I know Joel would be able to talk about this as well. E-commerce is not a business. It's a distribution method for the products and services that you want to sell. The idea around drop shipping is called arbitrage. It's buying something for $1 and selling it for $2. It's almost like trading. It's almost like, like trading currencies or trading stocks or those types of things. It's an arbitrage game. And there's a guy here in the group, Todd Ferguson. You may want to speak with him. To answer your question, the best way to learn something is just to go do it. Even if you don't succeed with that particular business, you're going to learn a lot. Here's my method of learning that I like better. I like to go get a job doing the business, or working inside of a business, and it's called earning while you're learning. That's the best way, in my opinion. Now, opinions vary, but we all have to make money to survive. The last thing that I want to do is hope that I'm going to be able to start a business that I have no idea about, have never done before, have no experience doing it, and then hope I'm going to make money. The odds of that happening are pretty unlikely. A better opportunity in order to at least make money and learn is to get a job in that industry. Your challenge is, as you and I talked about on the phone, is you don't have any experience. You're probably not going to be able to get a job in that industry. What you could get a job in is working for someone who does fulfillment by Amazon, let's say, or has a warehouse, and you just simply go work in the warehouse. It's a labor position. It doesn't take much experience. It just takes having a really strong work ethic, showing up on time, doing as you're told, doing as what you're trained to do. It's not rocket science, and then putting in the time and working there. And that's a way that you can learn. I always like the earning while you're learning much better than just thinking, I'll just go start a business and lose money, because that's what you're going to do. You're probably going to lose money. And I don't like to just lose money. I really like to value and protect my money. That's the best way to learn that business. Another way to learn is, obviously, as you and I talked about, is to watch online courses. There's a ton of YouTube videos where people talk about all the different things that are involved with an e-commerce type business. It really depends on what product or service category that you really want to go into. The businesses that fail are the ones that are just trying to make some money. Those are the ones that usually fail and rarely get off the ground. And it feels like if you have a passion for e-commerce, then you dig in. It's going to take you years to learn that business. It's a very complex, multifaceted business, e-commerce. There's technology that's involved. There is psychology of pricing. There is branding. There is advertising. There is customer service. There's logistics. There's so much involved with knowing how to run an e-commerce business that, yes, the only way to do it is to get in there and start doing it. And the best way, in my opinion, to do that is to go get a job in that industry. Find someone that will hire you, but you have to develop some sort of skill that somebody's going to want to hire you. So whether that's copywriting, whether that's becoming an expert at Shopify, whether it is building out funnels, whether it's media buying, like social media advertising, media buying, whether it's Google search engine and understanding Google AdWords, you have to develop a skill of some sort that's going to be translatable to another company to hire you. And if you don't even have a skill that somebody else would pay you to do, that just goes to show you that your success rate in that business is going to be pretty minimal. If you don't even have the skill that someone would hire you, you're probably not well equipped yet enough to start your own business. Obviously, I'm not trying to talk you out of becoming a business owner, but I do want you to equip yourself and arm yourself with the right knowledge. Okay? I hope that helps. Just going to take time. If it were me and I was in your shoes, what I would do is I would go get a job and I'd be making money. I would live as cheap as I can. I would save my money and I would learn e-commerce by going and mastering Shopify. I would master Shopify. I would go on their university that they have online and I would master Shopify. And then I'd start thinking about what kind of product do I want to sell? What kind of product do I know there's a market? And I'd start learning how to determine what products are really good to sell. Todd here in the group is really good at that. He's really good at finding out products, negotiating deals with manufacturers to get wholesale pricing. He understands what everything's getting listed for on Amazon, and then he buys them and then sells them on Amazon and makes a profit. But he understands the business really well as well. Okay, you might want to talk to Todd. Let me see if I can tag Todd while I'm talking. I can't, but oh wait, maybe I can. Hold on. I can. I'm going to tag Todd Ferguson. Speak to @Sam, please, about your business. So I'll connect you with Todd right there in the group right now. How simple is that? Boom. The power of AO, baby. Okay, the next question. The next question comes from Heather Brockman. And Heather says, what is the best way to get ETAs, estimated time of arrivals, sent to clients without the office setting times and adding extra stress for the groomers? Background is, the way we have things set up now, the groomers send out ETAs the evening don't get sent and clients get pissed. I don't know the best way to establish an arrival time without infringing on the groomer's time or not accounting for traffic if the groomers work late. How do I get around this? Good one there, Heather. If it were me in that business, I would want to have a dispatch person. All of the big companies that I do business with, in which they send out technicians, like Comcast and my utility company and my HVAC company, most of them have a dispatch person that does nothing but manage that process. And they ask me my preference. Do you want text messages, phone calls, or emails to let you know when we're going to be out there? So they'll usually let me know when I schedule the service. In your service, it's every 2 weeks, once a month, or whatever it might be. I might ask my customer, how do they want a notification? Do they want a phone call, email, or text, so that I'm giving my customer the type of communication they want? And then I would probably have a dispatch person manage that process. And that way it would keep the groomers from sending out text messages to clients, which could infringe on their safety, giving out their cell phone numbers. It would make sense to do that through some sort of professional texting, emailing, and calling service that's associated with the business, and the groomer keeping in touch with the dispatcher, and the dispatcher keeping in touch with the client, not the groomer. That's what I would do. And then I would set up a process of, we're going to message you, we're going to communicate with you the night before and give you a window. The day of, we are going to message you if the service is going to fall outside that window to let you know, and we'll let you know as soon as we know. And we're going to send you a last minute notification when we know that we're on our way to your location. And I want to communicate it the way that the client wants it to be communicated: phone, text, or email. Like all the services that I get, I just tell them to text me. I don't want them to call me. It bothers me when people call me and say, hey, just want to let you know I'm on my way. And I'm like, good, you could have sent me a text, I'm here. I always like to do what the customer wants to do. And with the amount of groomers you have in your business, or anybody else watching this, if you have a lot of technicians out in the field, a dispatch person will save headaches on your technicians because they don't want to have to do that stuff a lot of times. And you can control the process flow, which is really important for great customer service. It's an additional overhead. That's an expense you'll have to evaluate. But the customer service satisfaction levels and the processes for efficiency, my guess is it would drive more longer term value and revenue to the business, and it would pay for itself. That would be my guess. All right, I hope that helps. Heather. Okay, the next question comes from, let's see, Chris Sadat. And Chris says, where can I sell a non-profitable dropshipping e-commerce store? And is it possible to sell a non-profitable store? The background is I'm going to be shutting down my e-commerce store and moving on to a new venture. Unfortunately, Chris, I don't know of anybody that would buy a non-profitable business that has a profitable business. However, something to take into consideration here is, what is there of value to your store? Even if you're not making any money, do you have a customer list of people that have purchased a specific type of item? That list does have value. And I would search for other e-commerce store owners that sell that type of product or in that category, and reach out and ask them if they would be interested in purchasing a customer list. Now, I don't know if that is legal. I don't know if that is ethical to sell my information as a consumer to another company like that. I don't know. You'd have to do some research on that. I'll have a couple other mentors answer this question, but I don't know if that's a question that they would be able to answer. You might want to submit that question again if you really want to know the answer from one of the mentors. That's what I would probably do. But from a business perspective, I don't think anybody would buy a non-profitable business. It would only be a business in which they're going to see value in any inventory that you have, which you're going to get pennies on the dollar, or a customer list. That would probably be the only thing of value for your company. All right. I hope that helps. Hope the new venture goes great. Thanks, Chris. Okay, next question comes from Nico. And Nico says, should I go out to seek a co-founder who is more knowledgeable in business and a successful entrepreneur? The background is, my product is a unique storage jar for the cannabis industry. I'm a one-man band without any formal education or background in business. Sometimes I feel like I should have someone on the team who has already led a successful business or brand to help lead the way. I'm more of a creative who tends to focus more on the brand and innovation of the product rather than the business side of it. Okay, you and I just talked about this, Nico, so this is a great question. I'm glad that you submitted this, and I'm glad that you're sharing that you're having these feelings. It's not uncommon. Listen, you now belong to AO. You have 25 business partners, if you want to put it that way, that we're here to help you with the business knowledge. The challenge, what I'm hearing from you, is maybe that if you're not willing to go do the work from a sales perspective and a marketing perspective, or maybe even the operational side, I don't think with just you having one or two products like you do have, I don't think that would substantiate enough that somebody would come and want to be a business partner. There's not enough money in it. So even if you could convince someone like me that has a business experience to come be your partner, I wouldn't invest any money in it because I'm worth $500,000 a year salary. You know how much product you'd have to sell in order to pay me my $500,000 salary that it would take for me to work with you and have a job? What you might want to look at is, as opposed to building your company like we talked about, going out there and making the sales and all that, is you learning how to sell, first off, or finding a broker salesperson who knows the distributors at the head shops and all of the different stores that you would have your product, and just seeing if you could wholesale your product. Instead of selling your product to the end customer and building a brand like you and I talked about on the phone, maybe you just sell your product to wholesalers. And here's the thing, as you've already started to mention, that takes time because you have to convince one wholesaler, maybe a couple distributors to buy 50 or 100 of your product and put it in a couple stores to do a pilot. It would be called a pilot. They would buy your product, put it in some stores to figure out if people are going to buy it. Then if people buy it and there's a good enough turnover of that inventory, then they're like, great, we want to continue to sell this because it's selling. This is very common in the retail space, which is what you're talking about here, of selling it and putting it in stores. If a product doesn't sell on the shelf, then the store owner is going to remove that product and put products that people do buy. And so, if you can substantiate and prove with the current stores that you're in that there is X amount of turnover ratio and what the profitability of that is, you can use that data to convince distributors to then put it in the stores in which they sell product to. That would be an opportunity. But I just don't think in your business, with how small it is, that you would be able to convince someone like me, like someone who's been down the path of coming into business with you with only having a couple products and it being minimal revenue, because there's no money in it for me. And I'm probably the type of person, the person that you want probably either already has a business, owns a business, or they want to get involved in something that's making great money, and then they might invest in it. But I don't think that you're at that saturation point yet, or that maturity yet in the business to be able to offer that to somebody. But I like the idea that you're thinking about this stuff. Okay, I really do. And so I would look more for partnership opportunities of where you can just introduce your product to people that are going to go sell it and wholesale it. That might be a better option for you to think about. The challenges you and I talked about on that, and this wasn't in your question, but for anybody asking, you don't have a patent yet on your product, and you've already experienced that someone ripped off your product idea, manufactured something similar, and started putting it on Amazon. If you're going to really push forward with this business, either you have to decide, are you going to try to protect yourself legally and get the patent? And you can send me an email and I'll introduce you to the patent person I know. Or are you just going to be like, okay, I'm going to be one of many people that have this type of product and it's no longer unique because there's so many like it on the marketplace, and then it becomes a commodity item instead of a luxury, cool item like the Supreme brand, like you and I talked about. So you're going to have to figure out what that business model is. It is a cool product, and I own a cool product. But man, it's a lot of work building a company and building a brand, and you're experiencing that. And you've already walked a long part of the road. My advice is to not stop, just dig in and make it happen. Okay? So keep me posted on this. Let's keep this dialogue going, okay? Okay, the next question comes from Rosalie. And Rosalie says, how do you get out of your own way to reach goals in business? I have a small accounting firm. I keep sabotaging myself, and I want to be intentional to stop the sabotage. Rosalie, you hired Tom Black, and I can't think of any other way to stop self-sabotaging than to hire a coach like Tom. I just can't think of anything else. The only other option I really can think of is therapy. And I know that might sound kind of off the wall, but it's not uncommon that people were raised a certain way with self-limiting beliefs and really don't understand how to make that change. Tony Robbins, you've heard of Tony Robbins, that's what he does, is he helps people unleash the power within. He helps people that are in your situation stop self-sabotaging. Stop living a life of fear. Stop living with a scarcity mindset. Stop living with so much fear and limited mindset. That's what he does. Maybe attending some Tony Robbins virtual events would be a good idea for you. But you've taken the steps from a business perspective that any mentor like myself would advise, which is to get a coach and work with them. The challenge that you're having is you just won't do the work. And that's why you're asking this question. You're like, how do I get out of my own way? That's a mindset thing. You've got some sort of psychological thing going on in your mind that is hacking your productivity and your ability to grow. That's not something a sales coach or a business coach is going to be able to unlock. At some point, we either get so frustrated with ourselves that we quit, or we get so frustrated with ourselves that we quit self-sabotaging and we go do the work. That's the real issue here. You've also been, because I know you and I know your surrounding, but for those listening, I also know that you have been surrounded by not the best people for unlocking and unleashing the power within yourself. You've been around people that have limited belief systems, and that makes it really hard for someone who wants to grow and wants to be more, because day in and day out we're surrounded with negativity. And the advice for that always is to remove ourselves from that situation, or remove those people from our life. And I know that that's difficult when it's family, but you can either be happy and remove them, or you can be miserable and keep them in your life. It's a choice. And I know what choice I would make, but that's a choice that you have to make for yourself. So to answer your question, therapy, a psychologist of some sort to work with you on why you are making decisions that you know don't coincide with the goals that you have. Because you've already worked with a good sales coach. I would hire Tom Black. He's the person I would hire, and keep working with him, and don't give up, and just don't give up, and don't give up. I know that you want to succeed. You've heard all the great advice. You've done some of it, and then you continue to just repeat the cycle. We got to break that cycle. And I really think that's a mindset thing. Okay? I hope that helps. And thanks for asking that question. It's not uncommon, just so you know. There are thousands and thousands of books written about how to overcome ourselves, how to get out of our own way. Like if you Google how to get out of my own way, there's going to be thousands and thousands of blog posts and articles and books, like thousands, and probably videos. So maybe go watch some of those videos. I'll bet there's even TED Talks about that. It's so common. So don't feel like you're alone and that there's something wrong with you. This is so common, but we have to fix it. Okay? All right. I hope that helps. Okay, the next question comes from Eli. I think it's Eli or Ellie, but I think it's Eli. And Eli says, how can I put properties in a new LLC which I've purchased or looking to purchase in California? The background is I reached out to a lender and they said with a quit claim deed, it recalls the loan. Any other ways? I don't know what that means, Eli. That's not enough background for me. But when you purchase a property, the LLC purchases the property. If you own the property in your own individual name right now, then yes, get with a real estate attorney, and a real estate attorney can work with you to transfer ownership to the LLC. And there's some sort of accounting thing that happens with that, but the attorney will be able to handle working with you on that. I think it is something called a quitclaim deed, I do believe. But yes, get with a real estate attorney. Call somebody that you know that's a real estate agent in your city and ask them who they use for closings. And that closing attorney, they're going to know how to help you. Okay? Hope that helps, man. And I think that's your first question. Thanks, man. Appreciate you. Okay, the next question comes from Eli. And Eli says, how can I better my wholesale clothing brand to get into the more majors? The background is Bacciano, the name of his company, established boutique sweater line and I'm looking for ways to get into Nordstrom's, TJ Maxx, and larger chains as we have the capabilities. Okay, great. So this is Sales 101. If it were me, I would just go to the Nordstrom's and TJ Maxx website, and I would find out where their vendor relations department is, and I'd call the home office. There's going to be a phone number somewhere for Nordstrom's. Call Nordstrom's to say, I am a vendor of sweaters, and I want to go through the process of figuring out how I can become a vendor with Nordstrom's, and they'll walk you through the process. They're going to have fully vetted, streamlined processes that you'll have to go through in order to pitch them on your products. I am confident that's going to mean that you're going to have to go in and do a demonstration of your products. You're going to have your pricing and sell sheets. You're gonna go through the process. Angela in the group says for you, can you get a booth at Market? So there's a conference called Magic. I've heard of this. It's a fashion thing, and you can go there and buy a booth, and you can display, and a lot of the majors go to those conferences. Thanks, Angela. Appreciate that. In the comment section of this video, Eli, why don't you reach out to Angela? Angela does over $1 million, and someday I'm going to convince Angela to start asking questions and getting involved and coming to workshops. Someday she will. All right. She's going to pick up the phone and call me now. Angela, we have a leadership conference in June that you absolutely should be at. Okay? Get a hold of me. Seriously, you should be at this one. So yeah, that's it, man. Go to conferences and trade shows where you can display, and then just contact the majors. I'm also going to have Tony answer this. Tony is our mentor in the fashion industry, and he's in every Dillard's in the country. He's in lots of retail things, and he would absolutely know how to answer this question. So I'm going to have him answer this for you. Okay? All right. That was the last question. Thanks so much for these great questions. Angela, please get a hold of me. Send me an email to Shawn@askamillionaire.com. I really, 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 really want you at this leadership event. I know that you're hiring, you're growing. Leadership is the next phase. I really want to talk to you about this, okay? And then we need to catch up anyway because you have been somewhere distant and I haven't heard from you, all right? Okay, everybody, have a great day, morning or night, wherever you are in the world. Hope you got some value out of this. Please ask more questions. We have 26 mentors now. They are chomping at the bit to share their experiences with you and give you advice to help you grow your business. You cannot ask too many questions. You just can't. We are here for you every day, all right? Hope you have a great day, and I will see you soon. Peace out.